Yep.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Oconee County Board of Zoning Appeals for June 27th, 2022. First order of business is to consider the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, any corrections, any issues with the minutes?
I didn't see any issue, I didn't see any issues.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as written, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Pardon me?
Was it unanimous?
That was your name.
Everyone raise a hand, yeah? Partial raise there. Okay, for everybody's information, if you haven't been here before, the way we proceed on each issue that comes before us, we first of all ask for the requesting party to state their case, why that they want to do what they want to do. We then ask staff for any information that they may have, any data around the request. We then open the discussion up to general public. We want anyone who wants to have a chance to come and speak. If you decide, we got some people signed up for one request. Still going to ask you if anyone wants to come and say their piece, please do. Do not come up after we reach our decision and say, hey, you didn't think about this. We're here to listen to you folks. No, please make sure that you come up and say your piece if you want to say it. Speak only to us. Please don't speak to anyone else in the audience. Don't speak to the other parties to the case. Just speak only to us. And just a warning, we're not here for a discussion. Please don't ask us questions to go back and forth. Just say your piece and we'll be glad to listen. We may have questions of you, however. Okay. So we'll ask for input from anyone who wants to have input. We then give the requesting party a chance to restate their case and kind of rebut anything that's been said that may be in opposition to his or her request. Okay, so our first issue today is variance application number VA 22-004. John Ramey is requesting a 10-foot variance from the front setback allowing for construction of a garage. TMS number 327-00-01-014 with an address of 800 Sunview Drive, Seneca, South Carolina 29678. Is Mr. Ramey here? Please, sir. Can you just state your name for the record, please?
My name is John Ramey. As you had stated, I'm here applying for a 10-foot variance off the front setback there on my property to construct a garage. Some of the conditions I ran into we weren't aware of at the beginning. Thought it was just a 25-foot right-of-way for the state and a 25 for the county. But we got looked at the plat, and there's a 37.5-foot marked on there. So with the other 25 feet setback with the county, that didn't leave enough room. So basically I'm asking for 10 feet back into that right-of-way to build the garage. Ran into issues, looked at trying to relocate it, but my property, as you see there, it's almost twice as wide at the front as it is at the rear, and since the road runs at a diagonal, I get wider as I go, but right there where we tried to put the garage, it is into that area. Looked at the rear of the house, I got a septic tank, drain fields back there. To the right of my home, between one of my neighbors there's not enough footage, and plus the power and phone lines run through there. So that only leaves the side or the front of the home, and didn't want to try to do the front of the home because that goes against our covenant for the subdivision. The structures need to be similar materials, similar builds to the other homes in the area. So, and just to be honest, it wouldn't look right anyway. To put something right in front of your house. But so far as other properties in the area, I'd looked that up, and it looks like there's 11 structures on the road that I live on, or at the intersection of the road that I live on. Got one business, 2 chicken houses, 3 homes, 4 barns, and a church gym. They're all within that 58-foot state and county right-of-way. And as far as it does restrict the use of the property. I didn't try to, like I said, I didn't try to deceive the county or anything. I thought we were in the good until we did apply for the permit, but I'm just, kind of way the home's laid out, you know, we didn't build it, but we bought it as it was being built. You know, it was put on that plot. The other homes in our subdivision kind of, and I never realized this, I didn't know this was a thing, but, you know, being on the road, you run into the right-of-ways and things like that, so I didn't realize it was that large of a right-of-way. But as far as the public good, I've spoken with my neighbors in that subdivision, even across the road, some houses that were built later on. Everybody's fine with it. You know, they didn't see any issues with that. You know, I think we're only, out of all the houses there and across the road, we're one of two that doesn't have a garage. So it, you know, it is going to add, you know, property value to my home, but it doesn't. It helps theirs as well. It wouldn't hurt anything, as far as that goes. But also, my property, it wouldn't obstruct any views leaving our subdivision there, because my property is actually about 5.5, almost 6 feet above the road. So right as you leave the road, it's just an embankment, so it goes up into the air. So we shouldn't be, you know, obstructing any views. It's just going to be a garage for parking and storage. It's not going to be anything beyond that. It's just a standard size garage. It's not, you know, 3 cars or anything like that we're, you know, hoping to get. And let's see.
The paved road that's shown on here, what road is that?
The paved road, that's Rogers Road, SC 99.
Okay,
Goes from front of Earls Grove Church to West Pine Grove Road.
thank you.
And I will say this, and I'm, you know, being as honest as I can, there is some discrepancy there with the right-of-way with the state. I haven't found anybody that can tell me exactly what it is. The plat for my home says 37.5 feet, which would be a 75-foot right-of-way from the center of the road. I called the state, talked to somebody in Columbia. I called our local office here in the county. And even on the plat, it says 66-foot right-of-way for the state, which would be a 33. So I'm not sure, but like I said, on there, there's 37.5. Now, somebody from the state did ask me, is there a bridge on your property, on the road, the paved road? And they said that would be 75 feet, you know, and I said, no, ma'am. I said, but it was at one time part of a larger parcel of land. And that larger parcel of land that goes from us about a quarter mile down the road, now that property does have a bridge there on the paved road. So I don't know if that was something from then, you know, when this got surveyed 28, 29 years ago. Tried to contact the surveyor's office, but Jim is a bird survey. I look on there. I guess that's closed.
We'll have to have a seance.
Seance. Oh, okay, he passed away. Yeah, I tried reaching out to them, and they said that number's been disconnected, and internet said that it's permanently closed. So I assume that is why. But so that's it. That's all I have. So
John, what year was this house built?
I would say 94, 95. My son's born in 94, so I think we moved in 95.
John, the garage is attached to your house?
Yeah, I was trying to get it attached because if it wasn't attached, I'd have to go even further out to the right of way. But you know, we're trying to get a weather-free access into the home. The older you get, the more you appreciate things like that. I've had a battle with COVID in the last year and a half. Spent a week in the hospital with pneumonia, but ended up being some work for a little over 2 months with it. Had some other health complications, but wife tore Achilles tendon, so that turned into, you know, getting somebody in and out on steps. But yeah, just like I said, something, you know, we can access the home. And, you know, give it some parking areas, some storage area.
It's just a 2-car.
Yes, it's just a 2-car garage. Yeah, I wasn't trying to squeeze out, you know, I'm not building anything enormous. It's just a 2-car garage. And like I said, until we got dealing with the county, then kind of, you know, we ran across the fact that it's basically the structure, the base of the corner of the foundation would be 52 feet 9 inches from the road, from the center of the road. So, I thought 50 foot, if it was 25 and 25, that was good, but when they went to pull the building permit, realized that that 37 and a half there was something different. So that extended that on out to 62 and a half feet instead of 50, so, well, it should have been 58. It would have been 58 with the 33 and the 25, but.
Okay, I think we're all set, Mr. Ramey. Thank you. Thank you. We may come back with questions later.
Okay, thank you.
Staff have anything to say? This is an issue of setback for the county, right? County,
Correct. So the
Setback.
front setback is measured from the edge of the right-of-way 25 feet. So there's a little labeling discrepancy, but basically the right-of-way is going to be the green line on your screen.
Yeah.
The setback is what's labeled as county right-of-way, but that's actually the setback. That's the 25-foot setback
okay,
across the road frontage.
okay. So the issues with the county, we're not trying to deal with a state issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, anything else from staff's point of view? Okay, are there any comments from the audience? Anyone want to say something? Okay, I have here 4 or 5.
You have one gentleman raised.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Please.
I'm a surveyor.
Now, would you please come up here and,
And state your name for the record.
we all know who you are, but please state your name for the record.
I don't know who I am, but somebody can guess. I'm Glenn Hart. I am a land surveyor. As far as the right-of-way on these roads are concerned, these farm-to-market roads have a 33-foot each side, and if you get to a South Carolina route, it has 37 and a half, or a total of 75 foot. So that'll make it easy for you. Most of these that have the S-37-, they're 33 feet. And there is some exceptions. Old Clemson Highway that goes down by Courtney has a 25-foot right-of-way or a 50-foot right-of-way, the old concrete road. Hope that'll help you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, appreciate your help. Okay, I have some letters here that are all in support of Mr. Ramey's request. Let me read the first one. Dear committee members, I, Carrie Heron Sparks, am the owner of property located at 808 Sunview Drive in Seneca. I'm writing this letter in support of my neighbor, John Ramey, who resides near me on Sunview Drive. Mr. Ramey is appearing before your commission in order to request a variance of 5 feet into the county right-of-way so he may build a garage on his property. Please read this letter into the record and make those in attendance as well as my neighbors aware of my support of Mr. Ramey's variance request. And please feel and contact me as Carrie H. Sparks. There's a note here from Mr. Derek Troyer. I am very much in favor of him having a garage, which he really needs for his vehicles. And this is an email from Timothy Q. Smith. John Ramey is my neighbor. And Mr. Ramey has discovered his project would be a mere 5 feet over the zoning boundary. I would like to humbly request that John be allowed this small variance. And I've got a printed note here from a Lois Owens, allowing neighbor of mine, Mr. John Ramey, to be permitted an additional 5 feet into the county right-of-way so as to enable him to obtain a building permit for the building of a garage on his property, as I have no objections. So those are 5 people favoring your request.
Now, these setbacks were put in after that house was built, though, correct?
No.
They weren't?
I don't think that's germane either. I mean, with a setback for set, I don't think that's germane.
If you buy a house and you assume that you're good, then somebody comes in and puts a rule in.
I think you're not grandfathered under your intent. You can't grandfather an intent or an assumed capability.
Grandfathering is for things that would be already over a setback when the setback's established,
Right.
not for new construction or, in addition.
Okay, Mr. Ramey, do you have anything else you want to say?
I just want to say, I want to apologize for the letter said 5-foot mention. At the time, we weren't sure about the state right away, because like I said, I'd called a couple people and asked, they were saying 33. So I thought we needed 5 foot less, so when I went around and gave the letters, it was, but I went around and told all of them, the other week, I said, hey, it's showing 37 and a half on the plot, so it's actually, it's gonna be the 10 foot. So, but they said they were fine with that. That one, I didn't want that the same, I had told them one thing and
We
actually do
understand.
another, so.
Trying to navigate all the rules is not easy.
Yes.
Okay, before we consider this, does anyone have any questions or? Okay, let's go through the formal question. Rationale. Our first question is, there are extraordinary and exceptional conditions pertaining to the particular piece of property. There are extraordinary. Can I have a motion to the affirmative, please?
So moved.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye, please. Raise your hand. It's unanimous. These conditions do not generally apply to other property in the vicinity. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Because of these conditions, the application of this chapter to the particular piece of property would effectively prohibit or unreasonably restrict the utilization of the property. Could I have a motion in the affirmative, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. Unanimous. The authorization of a variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent uses or to the public good. The character of the district will not be harmed by the granting of the variance. Could I have a motion in the affirmative,
So
please? Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. It's unanimous in favor. Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed variance be approved?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, please. Unanimous approval. You have your approval, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming forward.
We had already refinanced the house, wasn't aware of all this when we started this process.
We're with you.
Gotcha.
We understand.
Adventure.
Thank you, Mr. Reevy.
Thank y'all very much. I really, really appreciate it.
Surely. Okay, our second item is special exception application number SE 22-005. Kevin O'Fallon is requesting a special exception hearing for an RV and boat storage facility in the Fairplay Village overlay. TMS number 337, -00-05-081. An unaddressed parcel with the closest address of 844 East Fairplay Boulevard, Fairplay, South Carolina 29643. Mr. O'Fallon here. Looks like you are. Please
Kevin
state your name,
O'Fallon.
please,
Kevin O'Fallon,
just for the record. Thank you, sir.
how are you? Thank you so much for giving me your time tonight. I appreciate it. I want to tell you, this is a year and a half in the making. I've been working on this project. And I know that you're probably wondering why I'm just now getting in front of your committee, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But I'll tell you, I'm really excited about this boat and RV parking thing for a lot of reasons. One is everyone that's come over to me in the last year and a half has told me they can't wait for me to open over there because there's just no boat and RV parking anywhere. Two, I feel like it really brings a real asset to that area because it's close to the lake and it's close to the interstate. We're only about 800, 900 feet from the interstate. And the biggest boat ramp is just on the other side of the interstate. And I think it gives people that can't afford waterfront property a chance to use the lake without clogging up the driveways and sides of their houses and streets. And then the RVs, the same with them. They can go up to the scenic highways and enjoy the mountains and not have that clogging up streets and driveways, which I think can be a sore eye. People have too many boats, too many RVs, and that sort of thing. My goal was to create something that was nice, and it was affordable, and it would work. I've had the property since 2007. I bought that property and have not been able to do anything with it because I didn't have any money. I sold my house, and I used the money to build this. And you're gonna say, well, why didn't you get this approval before? Well, I thought it was approved, and I have a letter for each one of the board members I received last October from Oconee County saying that I had approval, and I'd be glad to hand this out to
Sure,
you.
we can take that.
Can I-
Sure, please, yes, that's fine.
This is a letter I received back in October saying I had approval. I was working on my DOT approval, and they required it, and this was given to the DOT. Just so you know, I had called back in January of 2021 and asked people in the county what I needed to do, and they said I didn't need anything from the county until I asked for an address. And that's when I found out I needed the DOT permit. When I asked for the address, they wanted an encroachment permit, which I have, and I did all the work on that. And then the DOT made me get a stormwater permit, so I got that. And then April 12th is when I went to get the sign permit because everything was wrapping up. And that's when I found out that I was supposed to come in front of this board. I had never heard of this board or anything like it. I just want you to know I wasn't trying to sidestep anything. I mean, I want you guys to know that. I've owned that property since 2007, and I've never heard of Fair Play Village. And by the way, I want to say this. I did go around to all the neighbors after I had to go do this. I spoke to all of them. It was very well received, and I was just really excited. I didn't have any negative comments from anybody, which I was shocked. Everybody around was excited something new's coming there because there's just not been anything new there for 20 years. So I'm really excited. And I wanted you to know I've tried to follow all the guidelines and do everything the right way. And I've got my life savings invested in this. And the last reason that I did this is my wife is disabled, and the money that I'm spending here is to help her be able to take care of her in the nursing home because it's going to be expensive. So I've got a lot on the line here. I just want to let you know I appreciate your time. If you've got any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Is this strictly just open parking, or is it, are you going to have enclosed?
No enclosures, no buildings, and that's where the confusion lied, is we weren't building any buildings or anything. That's why I was told that we didn't need anything, because we were basically just doing gravel, fenced in. It's got electronic fence, security, and they have a slip to park into, but no, there's no enclosures, no covers.
Lighting?
Yes, there'll be lighting, solar. We're doing all solar lighting and security system.
Any other questions at this time?
Is there any, what's the closest residential around there? And I'm asking
Well,
around because of the light.
There's a guy that lives across the street, and he's here tonight to speak.
Okay.
So he'll be here, you'll be hearing from him. But I spoke to everybody within more than 250 foot. And everybody gave me just really a welcoming, really excited about it. And like I said, I've done nothing, I just want you to know I've done everything but tried to follow the rules to the best. And so I apologize. I mean, you probably were wondering, why is this thing already built? Well, I've been working on it. I've been building this myself by hand. This is not something that I've been able to pay people to do. So I've been working, this is something I've done. I'm not a developer or anything. You know, my goal is to retire in Fair Play. I've got one lot that we were going to build for our retirement, and I've just had this property. That's all I've got, so, to my name. So, any other questions?
Questions this time? Okay, thank you, sir. Staff, do you have any input?
Sure. So this is a special exemption. This is not a variance. The overlay district does call for non-residential and non-agricultural uses are required to get special exemption. So this is not a residential use or an agricultural use, which is why it's here before you.
Okay. But help me understand, this letter he said he had,
I am not familiar with that letter.
If I may,
yes, please,
with
Vivian.
my signature
Your
on it.
signature on it.
There's a situation between the county and SCDOT. We require an encroachment permit. They require a letter from us saying that we're aware of the project that's going on. So when I wrote that letter, I missed the overlay. I did not see that it was in the overlay, so I just wrote him the letter saying, so he could get his encroachment permit. That's the reason for the letter, and I missed the overlay. That's
Okay,
my bad.
Okay.
I could have told him at that point that he did have to come here.
understand. Okay, anything else from staff that you want to say? Okay, I have 3 people signed up to speak on this subject tonight. Is it Peggy Smith? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Peggy Smith. I've been a resident of Fairplay for over 30 years, and I've known Shane O'Fallon for a long time. And this establishment that he's made is very nice, and in that area, there's a lot of restricted subdivisions where they will not let you put boats and RVs, and there's a big need for that area. And I've had a lot of friends and family to tell me the same thing, that they would love to have this to open because it's so close, and it's, like you said, it's so close to the interstate. It would be so convenient for them, and it would be affordable for them, and there's a lot of parts in that area which they would love to have something close by to have something like this. But he has done a very good job on this establishment that will help Fairplay look. It would look good for Fairplay is what I'm trying to say. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Harry Tollison?
Collison.
Mr. Tollison, please state your name for the record.
Yeah, y'all don't worry too much about it. I'm a next door neighbor to it.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Thank you.
Even though I just, could you state it?
And
State your name, Harry.
I
Would you
have
say your name, please, sir?
Harry Tollison,
There you go. Thank you, sir.
what's left of him. Now, I'm his next door neighbor, right straight across the road in front of him. You say you don't have an address for him. Well, mine's 844, so it's got to be 43 or 45 or 46. 43 or 46.
Okay.
The way it was cut up down through there. Now, I didn't realize that was a jumbled up mess too when it happened. But as far as the man opening this business, I have no opposition whatsoever. Me and my wife, we right straight across the road in front of him, and we have no opposition whatsoever to the man opening the business. And appreciate if y'all fellas would have it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
Thank
input. Marcus Golden? Something like that? The third person to sign up.
Must have changed their mind.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak on this subject, this request? Anyone else? Speak at this time. Okay, hearing none.
Mr. Chairman, can I give you kind of a backstory on Fairplay?
Yes, please,
Okay.
please do.
Back when the county did the zoning enabling ordinance in 2010, a group got together in Fairplay. We formed the Fairplay Community Association to look at that. And so we went through a very detailed process of community meetings. And so there were no standards put in the village overlay, or very minimal. And Ryan Honey was on the planning commission at that time, and he told us we needed to get together and put standards in there because the county had done the overlay with the foresight that the 85 corridor is going to develop with sewer at that point when it gets there. And so we organized this group, and we had meetings, we got the county involved, and we looked at the standards that are in the 85 out on the interstate and looked at those standards and came up with this. And we wanted to leave agricultural and residential, but anything new, commercial, industrial that comes in, we just want a flag to go up and say, hey, and give people the opportunity. Because in the past, in Fair Play, what happens, it just shows up and you're like, what is that? And it's done, So the process worked, the people that I've heard, of course, Harry and Teeny live right across from there, and their neighbor, Rebecca Lawson, told me that as long as he keeps it cleaned up and looking good. So the process has worked. You've got people coming out of Fair Play that have said, we have no problem with it, and so that's why it was put in that way in there. So it's worked very well. So, but we're probably going to get a few more here as time goes on down at Fair Play.
Well, as I looked at the subject property yesterday, it fits right in with what else is going on there. There's a kind of a landscaping stone store right next door. It's just around the corner from the gas station that we had a hearing about
Yes.
several months ago.
Yes.
Haven't built the station yet, but
I hear it's coming.
Do you? Okay, okay, well, so, I mean, to me, it fits right into the neighborhood. It's not anything deleterious to the neighborhood.
And if you look at those standards, it would come to here, and if it's some kind of structure or building, it may, the Appendix A may apply. So that was the thought, is if you have a new building coming in, that, okay, yeah, it needs to have the setbacks, it needs to have the lighting, it needs to have a parking lot.
So if he were
like that.
to decide to expand or improve his facility, he would have to come back to us then.
I guess if you build a building.
If he's gonna build on that property,
He's not gonna build
he'd
a
have to come back and get approval based on,
There's a lot of boats in Fair Play, so.
okay.
Can
Sure
I
there
say
are.
one thing about the building? I do have a building, actually it's 12 by 24, but it's only for the gate and the storage of some equipment and the electronics that control the gate. It's not a building that anybody would occupy.
Understand, it's minimal.
Yeah.
It's minimal. So I don't think that's an issue at all. Okay, any other discussion before we consider this? Okay, get the question straight here. So we're going to consider the item. First of all, this request is in accordance with a comprehensive plan and consistent with the spirit, purposes, and the intent and specific requirements of this chapter, to include the definition and intent of the district in which the special exception is being requested. I have a motion in the affirmative, please.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Second. Discussion. Already had discussion, I think it well fits in. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. It's unanimous in favor. This request is in the best interest of the county, the convenience of the community, and the public welfare. Could I have a motion, please, in the affirmative?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We've had ample input that it isn't needed by the community. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. This request is suitable for the property in question and designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be in harmony with and appropriate in appearance to the existing or intended character of the general vicinity. Have a motion in the affirmative, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. Unanimous. The request is suitable in terms of effects on highway traffic, parking, and safety, with adequate access arrangements to protect streets from undue congestion and hazards. Can I have a motion in the affirmative, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We didn't really talk about traffic. Anyone have any concerns about traffic?
No, but that's already been worked with CDOT, right? Traffic issues.
It's for the encroachment permit.
Yeah.
That's-
There's no traffic dams on
That's
Fair
been
Play.
taken care of.
Right, I don't think it'd be a problem at all. We didn't talk, so. Okay, so, all those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
It's unanimous in favor. Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed special exception be approved?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. It's unanimous. Okay, we've approved your request. You're all set.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming. Sorry for any confusion on your part. I know it's difficult traversing the various regulations you have to.
And thank you,
Take care.
Vivian.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for helping me through this process. I'm like a fish out of water.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck with your business.
Good luck with your project. Okay, our final issue today is special exception application number SE 22-004. David Summers of Summers General Contracting, requesting a special exception hearing to build a new 32-bed bunkhouse for volunteers. TMS number 331-00-02-011, with an address of 175 Camp School Lane, Fairplay, South Carolina, 29643. Mr. Summers here.
He is not, sir. This is the president of the Wilderness Way camp. Are you okay with him giving the
Sure.
presentation? He's very unprepared, but he's willing to speak.
We will make allowances.
And for the record, Executive Director.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Please state your name, please.
Okay, Bill Collins.
Bill Collins?
Bill Collins, Executive Director, Wilderness Way Girls Camp. We're located where the Fairplay Boys Camp had gotten their start. And we've been there since the boys' camp moved away to Welcome, off of Welcome Church Road. We've been there 32 years now, and we rely pretty heavily on volunteers to help us run the camp. Some of these volunteers, they do get stipends, but they do a lot. These are longer-term folks, but then we have a number of groups that come mostly in the summertime, short-term volunteer groups, youth work groups that come. They come and they help us with things like doing some painting, just kind of keeping things renovated, cutting up firewood for us. We burn a lot of firewood during the winter. And then a number of them go to our thrift stores to help us out. Thrift stores is one of the ways that we raise funds to serve the girls that we serve. We're serving girls that are having to leave home to get extra help with the troubles that they're having. They choose to come to camp. Their parents pay a portion, but it's a prorated amount based on their household income, number of dependent children that they have in the home. And so we have to make up the difference by thrift store profits. That's the biggest thing. Donations is another, and then the portion that the parents pay. So we count a lot on volunteers. Up until now, we have housed volunteers, in local churches and in some of the residences that we have. And we have a building. It used to be the chapel building for the boys' camp. We don't use it for our chapel now. Ours is outside. But sometimes we've used that, and this would be like on a 1 week basis, like a Sunday night through Friday night. Sometimes shorter than that. Sometimes we have groups come in, they're just there for 2 or 3 days at a time. But last year we developed a plan to build a bunkhouse, and that's to provide housing. That way we can keep folks on property. They don't have to be traveling back and forth to churches. And so it's on the property. It's away from our programming area, but on the property. Just makes it easier for meals, makes it easier for showers. The building has showers built in it. We've got a drain field cleared out for 42 permanent residents, which it would not nearly use that. I mean, we're talking about several weeks a year that it would be used for groups. But anyway, so that's the building of it. We're wanting to build it to commercial residential standard because we just, we want it to be a safe place for groups to be. Obviously, we don't want anything bad happening with a group coming to help us out. So that's what we're up to. It's on the property of the camp. It's up. If you're familiar with the camp, it's off of Wilderness Road, and then there's Camp School Lane, which is our road going up, and so it is off of the road that's within the camp. So it doesn't affect anything as far as road other than just the traffic coming down to Wilderness Road and turning out and going. It actually I guess it would decrease traffic, because folks don't have to go in and out to the camp. They would be there. They come on, say if they came on a Sunday night, they would be there on the property, except when they go to the lake. But we'd like for them to do that as well. But that's it. It's the building. I don't know if you have a picture of the building. Like I say, okay, that's it. And that's basically the design. We're going to try to make it prettier than what's on that. But it's basically three rooms. There's a guy's side, and there's a girl's side, and then there's a gathering room at the front of it. So they can see at the top, there's a girl's side as you're looking at on the right, the guy's side will be on the left, and then there'll be 3 showers and bathrooms on each side. Showering has been an issue with groups, because a lot of times they'll have to use our camp shower house for that, and just with girls, it's kind of rough. We just have to work on scheduling, so the guys don't go to the girls' shower house, when the girls would be up around or anything. But anyway, that gathering room in the middle, that would be for, groups. They sleep in there at night. They're gathering up in the morning, might have devotions there, possibly have meals. It doesn't have a kitchen. We are going to have a microwave and refrigerator there and a sink. But a lot of times they take their meals up at our chuck wagon. Anyway, that's basically it. It's got a gravel road going down to it. We've got electricity down. We've got water line already down to it. And like I say, we will have a sprinkler system in it, whether we needed it or not. I just feel right about having that. I know, just the evidence shows that sprinkler systems do a good job saving lives should a catastrophe happen. So I think that may be why we've got the classification the way we do. I don't know. You educate me.
Can you help me understand a little more the nature of your program there? This is a residential program for girls.
It is nonprofit. Yes, a nonprofit organization.
Year-round then?
Year-round, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Like I say, families come to us. No girl is made to come to camp. All the girls that are there, there are problems in their homes. They've got a lot of relationship issues. Girls just not knowing how to deal with stress, deal with, just interpersonal relationships.
Age range?
Okay, age range, we're licensed from 8 to 19, actually, but we don't, right now, our youngest, she was 9, she just turned 10 this week. The oldest, we actually have an 18-year-old right now, but and she'll be heading home before too long. But that's the range, and so they're in a younger group and an older group. Capacity, we're licensed for up to 30, but we've just been operating with up to 20, 2 groups. And so right now we've got 16 girls out there, about to be 17 tomorrow, Thursday, excuse me.
Part of my confusion is I drove up there using the directions we had, and I think I came up, what's the name of the road?
Wilderness Road.
Wilderness Road, yes.
Off of Highway 182.
Yes, and then turned right on
Camp School Lane.
Camp School Lane, yes. And
Drove way up.
you kind of wander around on a gravel road, and I came to
Yeah, now a gravel road,
just a gravel driveway.
okay, that, we would be paved.
I don't know where I was. I didn't see any facilities like you're talking about. That's my problem.
Well, did you see a sign out front? Said
Yes.
Wilderness Way Camp School?
Yes,
Did it have butterflies on it? I'll say, okay.
Okay, so obviously I didn't see the whole facility then.
Right.
That's all I'm asking. Like, you're building a new facility for volunteers, and I understand what you're saying.
Right.
So you've got another facility somewhere that I saw that you have, where you house the ladies and the girls, and you have someplace for them to eat
Correct,
and
yes.
to meet, and I guess you school them then? Do you have school there?
We have we're registered with the Oconee County School System, and we have a teacher that is located right there. She when she comes to work, she comes to the camp, and is working with the girls. A lot of their education is beyond just the certified teacher, though.
Sure.
But she is there too to help girls in some special areas that they need some extra help. And most of these girls do need some extra help.
Thank you. I was not very diligent in doing my due diligence. So thank you for your information. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir. We may call you in a minute. Staff, help us understand why are they here? I'm not sure why this is needed.
So this is a special exemption as well. This is not a variance. This is considered group residential facility. So this is a group housing project. Group housing project is 10 or more people not related by blood in one facility. So this does meet that definition. All group residential facilities require an approval from this board to be to commence. So that also does include any expansion, would need a new exception. So the expansions of existing group facilities and new group facilities.
Okay. And I think that's I support that ordinance a lot, because there's some places people want to put facilities that just don't belong. Okay, any questions on why we're here then?
No.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
Just give you kind of a backstory on that too, since this seems like it's fair play night tonight, I guess.
Okay, please do.
I'm earning my money right tonight.
That's right, that's why you're here.
But this camp is very community-minded, and they do a great job out there. They're part of the community. They have around Thanksgiving, they have a turkey in the whole dinner. Everybody's invited if you want to come. So they do a great job in helping those young ladies. It was funny, the fair play, the Yoders, the boys' camp was there first.
Okay.
And that's how Yoders they opened their store up to fund the boys' camp.
Really?
And then it got more populated in the area, so it wasn't wilderness enough, so they're up above Westminster now, and then the girls' camp took over, so a little
Is this tied to the boys' camp for funding?
No.
That's
No. But they do a great job. They do a great job up there.
Okay. Thank you, that's helpful.
That is helpful.
Okay, any other discussion before we consider the questions? Okay. This request is in accordance with the comprehensive plan and consistent with the spirit, purposes, and the intent and specific requirements of this chapter, to include the definition and intent of the district in which the special exception is being requested. I have a motion in the affirmative, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. It's unanimous. This request is in the best interest of the county, the convenience of the community, and the public welfare. Can I have a motion in the affirmative, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. This request is suitable for the property in question and designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be in harmony with and appropriate in appearance to the existing or intended character of the general vicinity. I have a motion in the affirmative,
So
please.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. It's unanimous. This request is suitable in terms of effects on highway traffic, parking, and safety, with adequate access arrangements to protect streets from undue congestion and hazards. Do I have a motion in the affirmative, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. It's unanimous. Based on the evidence presented to the board, do I hear a motion that the proposed special exception be approved?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Raise your hand. It's unanimous. Sir, you have your approval.
There you go.
Sounds good.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Glad
Thanks for all
glad
y'all
you showed
doing
up.
You don't need all that help.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Stand adjourned.
I'm so glad you showed up.